So that
because of our time, General, I want to make reference to what you said earlier when you talked about, oh, you're not going to be chasing people who have corruption or have been accused of corruption before you become president, or before you became president if you become president. But that when you do become president, of course, if it happens while you are there, then of course you will handle that.
Yes.
Which brings me to the question, would it be right then to say that you think this war against corruption, which has been fought in the last 3.5 or so years, is principally a waste of time? Or are you part of those who think also that it was designed to go after the opponents of those who are currently in government?
Well, I congratulate President Buhari for his war against corruption. When he came in as a military head of state, he set up a war against indiscipline. And I think he would have helped himself better to go back to that indiscipline. Nigeria is a highly indisciplined society. The way he is fighting corruption, he does not even, he himself knows that he has failed.
How so?
Because people are still packing government money all over the place.
But they are arresting some, they are investigating some, they are prosecuting some, and in fact, 1 or 2 have actually been jailed.
You see, that is just picking out of 1 million people, just pick 1 or 2 and 3 and say you are fighting corruption. You can't sit in your office and be fighting corruption alone. In Nigeria, corruption is like if it's a tree, it is in the roots, it is on the stem, it is on the leaves, it's on the branches, it's everywhere. So if you pick one from the root, or one fruit from corruption, millions are still there. So, first of all, Nigerians have to find out, where did it start? What is the origin? What is corruption? How did it start? How did Nigeria start as a nation? How did we start as a nation? How were we coming? How did corruption come in? You have to get to the root to know what corruption is, before we can stop fighting corruption. When Nigeria started in 1900, when the South and the North were colonized, and later on Lord Lugard united the two. And then education came in the South initially. Many people started getting education, secondary school knowledge and this. And the British started employing them as drivers and so forth and so forth. And if you were a Yoruba person, picked from Ibadan, they would prefer not to keep you in Ibadan, they would prefer to send you to their British officer in Maiduguri. So when these people went over the country and discovered that Nigeria is beautiful, people are friendly, and that's the secret of Nigerian coexistence. Nobody is putting this nation together. We are putting this nation together ourselves. These people, a Yoruba man going to Ibadan, going to Maiduguri, finds out that he is being treated as a son of the soil. Friendly, everything he needed is given. Then a Fulani man going to Port Harcourt, treated the same way. Then an Igbo man going to Ibadan, treated the same way. So these people told the British, Nigeria we want to be a nation. Nigeria was not a nation. And the British were shocked that these people formed the first nucleus of Nigerian nationalism in the 1920s. And this continued. And 1944, the youth, particularly the students of the ex-students of King's College Lagos and the students of King's College Lagos came together in a meeting. After they finished the meeting, they marched straight to Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe's residence and said, sir, the British say we are a nation, but we don't know ourselves, because there was nothing done to mingle, to integrate the Nigerian society. So Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe was very happy. He said, we the youth are ready, but we have no leadership. So he met Engineer Herbert Macaulay, and they encouraged the youth, and the Zik used his media. They invited Nigerians from all over the country. 101 ethnic groups met in Glover Hall on the 26th of August 1944. The aim was to will together all Nigerian ethnic groups in one solid block, political block. 2, to work for the well-being, the prosperity of each citizen, all citizens of Nigeria. And they said they needed a council that can speak for the entire country. They were not referring to themselves as Yoruba, Igbo, Hausa. They were referring to themselves as Nigerians, and the British felt threatened. And that's the day they formed the National Council of Nigeria. But because they were Cameroonian, 3 associations of Cameroon came as observers, the Bamenda Union, the Bakweri.
Which is incidentally, the problem has resurrected itself now in Cameroon.
Yes, the Bamenda Union, the Bakweri Union, and then the Cameroonian Youth League in Lagos. They requested that they should be included on the council. So the name the National Council of Nigeria was then changed from National Council of Nigeria to National Council of Nigeria and Cameroon, because of these 3 Cameroonian associations. Now the British felt threatened because the nationalism was one single pole that would push them out. So they brought, in order to truncate Nigerian nationalism and patriotism, they brought Sir Arthur Richard, who was a ruthless governor in Jamaica, to come and administer Nigeria as the Governor General. So when he came, he studied the situation. Nigerians were united. They were not talking about Yoruba, Hausa, Fulani. So if this is allowed to continue, they will send the British, they will terminate the British imperialism in the country. So what Arthur Richard did since 1914, he gave out the first constitution. The British gave out the first constitution for Nigeria. And this constitution gave us Eastern region, Western region, Northern region. The idea, and as Arthur Richard said it in black and white, was I did this deliberately to truncate Nigerian nationalism before Nigerian nationalism truncate British imperialism in Nigeria. So these people who were fighting for Nigerian nationalism were now sent to the east, sent to the north, sent to the west, and they started fighting, they started negotiating for what we call regional nationalism.
Which later on became regional government.
And then later on, they set up, about 2 years later, the British set up houses of assembly in each of the regions so that they can make their laws. And when the British realized that this has crystallized, and then the Nigerians were trying to fight for their independence, Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe and Awolowo, they were trying to fight for independence, the British called them, this is your independence, when do you want it? Because the idea was to divide them. If we allowed them to fight for their independence, they will unite again into a nation. So they prefer to give us independence as 3 different countries rather than one country. And that's the source of Nigerian lack of patriotism and lack of nationalism.
And corruption.
And corruption. And corruption, this is how it happened. When the British finally know that they have succeeded in doing what they did, they then gave us the House of Representatives in Lagos. So people had to come from the north, had to come from the east, had to come from the west. And when they met in Lagos, everybody, there already been, nationalism had been regionalized. So when they came to Lagos, each of them was trying to get something from the center to take to the region to be a hero. Heroism was in the region, not at the center. And that's what the British wanted for Nigeria. And this continued, and now when Gawan came, he created 12 states, and later on now we have 36. So when Nigeria come to the center, instead of taking something to their region, they take it for their packers. And because their packers are too small, they send it to foreign banks. And that's what the British wanted. They send it to UK, send it to US. Now some of them are sending it to Dubai. So Buhari, President Buhari, if you want to stop corruption, you must know where it started. Ironsi understood it, and when he came, he first of all abolished the regions and went back to the 1939 arrangement, which was called Northern, Western, Eastern Group of Provinces. That was the 1939 arrangement before the outbreak of the Second World War. But the mistake Ironsi did was that he assumed that Nigeria knew. They didn't know. So he didn't educate them. So they were angry. It's like you take a pig, you wash it properly, you take it from the mud, you wash it properly, you put it on the pig still want to go back to the mud. And right now, Nigeria are talking about restructuring and say we want to go back to the region. It's the region that led us into civil war. It's the region that led us to Yorubas hating Igbo, Igbo hating Yoruba, Northerners. You know, all this.
So you wouldn't think that restructuring, particularly the way it's being debated or discussed at the moment, will offer any kind of solution to Nigeria's problems?
The way they are doing it, they don't even we have to get back into history and know where we're coming from, where we drop the Nigerian spirit and pick it from there. How to reach out, store Nigerian spirit. And we have to get back to that stage and take the spirit. And that's exactly what Ojukwu did. When Ojukwu felt that his people were being hated, were being killed all over the country, he said, okay, if you don't like us, we go. We are Biafrans. We will go and set up a country of our own. And federal government said, no, we don't want you to go. And they couldn't negotiate properly, so it resulted to a civil war. And eventually the federal government won. And when Shagari came in, there was a reconciliation. And when reconciliation came, Ojukwu said, okay. And this, people call him rebel, but Nigerians must take note of this. Ojukwu said, okay, we wanted to go, but you say you want us. So we are now back. And even told Igbos, forget about Biafra. Be part and parcel of this country. Then Ojukwu brought this party called APGA. Ojukwu himself was an ex-student of King's College, Lagos. And this party, All Grand Alliance, that was formed on 26 August 1944, was by the students and ex-students of King's College, Lagos.